What does it mean to be more Ghanaian than others? Some have said it's tantamount to saying I am more human than you and deserve better. Just gone by is the week in which Ghanaians insisted they will neither be disrespected or nor accommodate divisive language, not in the least by the very people they pay through their taxes. Social and traditional media wouldn't erase the topic off their list of to-do topics, mostly seeking the head of the speechmaker. Demands are also being made on the new management of the Ghana COCOBOD to provide clear strategies on how they intend to improve upon the lot of cocoa farmers rather than continue projecting wrongdoings of the past administration. In the same vein, by the way, the past administration has the task of justifying how a plush building running into 7 million made its way to Bole, the former president's hometown up north. Was it for his personal comfort, and was value for money observed in that transaction? Also, there appears to be constant show of disrespect for President Akufo-Addo by some members of his party NPP, as you may have observed in the trend of violent disregard for rule of law by vigilante groups affiliated to the party. With all these said, I am hopeful of a much better week, after which we can have discussions more inspiring than depressing, one that creates hopefulness as against hopelessness, clarity rather than confusion. Here is to that week. My guests for today are George Asekere. He's host of Behind the News at GTV. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Also here with me is Edward Kwabi. I call him Eddie because that's how we call him. But he's Edward Kwabi. He's political editor at TV3. You're welcome.
Thank you, Gifty.
Okay. So today we'll be sharing our thoughts on various issues, including all that I've mentioned, A.C. Boateng's comment and its repercussions. We'll also spend some time on issues at COCOBOD and touch on vigilantism and politics in Ghana. Also, Spio Gabra says to expect him as presidential candidate in election 2020, but that's if the NDC say yes. And since issues with the digital address system won't go away, we'll be on it as well. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. This is Editors Forum. All right, you're welcome. So let's start dealing with the issues right now. There are still calls for the president to sack Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa for saying members of the NPP for him are more Ghanaian than others. We broke the news that he has been summoned to the Flagstaff House during the week after heaps of calls were mounted on government through both traditional and social media. We were to expect an apology, according to our sources at the Flagstaff House, and bam, there was an apology from him. Some have accepted, others have rejected, and we'll be talking about this now. The question is whether or not this ends it. Like I'm saying, some have accepted, some have not accepted. What are your own thoughts? I mean, does the apology that he sent suffice for you? Let me start with you, George.
Me, yes.
It works for you?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, we are here as human beings. Nobody is infallible. So long as we remain here, born in sin, live in sin, talk sin, eat sin, higher chances are that we will commit some sins as we move on. But when we do that, what is the way forward? The Muslims watching me can refer to the Holy Quran, chapter 39. Verses 53. Allah instructed people to forgive because he forgives. And he argues that the fact that he forgives and is asking you to forgive doesn't mean he's encouraging you to sin more, but it is the way to go.
So Ghanaians should forgive him,
yes,
and just move on.
When you are a Christian like me, go to John chapter 8 and you'll be told of a story of a woman who was brought before Jesus, caught in the act of adultery. And Jesus was like, the one who hasn't sinned among them should be the first to throw the stone. And when Jesus stooped and woke up, the people had vanished. He asked the woman, where are the accusers? Has anyone condemned you? The woman said, no. Jesus said, neither do I condemn you, but go and sin no more.
Well, that's if you know for sure that the person will go and sin no more. But or unless, of course, you want to accept the fact that we're all sinners, and that even though you're saying the person should go and sin no more, yes, we're human, we're prone to sinning, so he'll go and sin, but there's still chances of forgiveness. But let me just bring Eddie in on this. Eddie, does a response or the apology from Mr. Issy Boateng suffice for you as a Ghanaian, as someone in the media industry, of course, in the media, and of course, the media was one of the main agencies, if you like, that made sure that he was brought to book? Well,
I think that I'm not convinced.
Okay, why not?
No, I'm not convinced.
Why not?
I'm not convinced with his response, and of course his apology, because this is someone we do know that we had to put a lot of pressure on him for him to eventually tender in his apology. And we were told that he was summoned at a Flagstaff House, so that could be a factor. That could be a reason why.
So that he was forced to apologize.
He was coerced, if you want to put it that way, to apologize, because the circumstance under which he found himself needed that kind of response. You don't need to get to that level as a diplomat. I think that his comments were undiplomatic and they were unsavory, to say the least. The best he could have done to himself could have been the news of he resigning, or perhaps government should have just, or the president himself should have terminated his appointment. We've had this kind of culture of impunity in this country for a while, and it's not just this administration. We've over the years had several ministers who have flouted the Constitution, because some of the comments that these people pass are unconstitutional. It doesn't augur well for our national unity. And in the past, we've had same people being brought to the office of the president. I mean, reassigned to office of the president, because I mean, the president at the time, if I want to use President Mahama's tenure, he couldn't fire some of his appointees who misbehaved, if I want to put it that way, in office. So I thought that this was an opportunity for President Akufo-Addo, after campaigning against some of the things that President
the previous
Mahama
administration
did. So
he missed a golden opportunity there.
He missed it. He missed it.
To show that he was
missed it.
A strong
he should have gone straight to the point and then sacked the man.
Okay.
I mean, he can. I don't know what else he can do. Maybe perhaps he can be relegated to do party business. He's more qualified to do party business.
Well, Spilgabra has, you know, some options. I spent some time this week with him, and he has some options. He says that when things like these happen, you can suspend the minister, the High Commissioner. You can bring them home for some time. You know, at least it's just a sign that
so you suspend him. Who does the work for you?
Because I mean, there are people there who are
diplomats. His image is tarnished already. This is someone who is representing the state, and for that matter, the president in South Africa. So if you are going to suspend the person and then say that I'll bring him back home, let him spend 2 weeks or 2 months, I'll send him back to the place, what have you done? Okay. Have you changed anything? You haven't.
So Edward is not the only one who thinks that. Actually, to be frank, calling you Edward sounds awkward. Eddie is not the only one who thinks that the president should sack him. Yesterday, COCOBOD was on Newsfile as well. He said the same thing. Let's have a look at. Let's listen again to for the benefit of those who have not followed the conversation. Let's have the benefit of listening to him and some of the comments that have come on top of that, and then after that, we'll have a very quick discussion on that as well.
I'm really, I don't know. Now it's within the prerogative of the president. He's retracted, he's apologized, and there are people who said forgive him, don't forgive him. Whether he continues to be the High Commissioner to South Africa or not is within the jurisdiction of the president. That's the bottom line. If I had my way, and if I were an advisor to the president, I would say that they should ask him to step aside.
And it is highly competitive. This government is doing its best to create job opportunities. And me, for instance, I told my people over there that my first meeting with them, I told them that it is because of MPP that I'm here. So MPP man is my priority. I told them when NDC was in power, it was Kwesi who was there. Now we are in power, so I see what things here with you. My topmost priority is the problem of an MPP person before any other Ghanaian. Take it or leave it. And they marvel. And I said it. If I have my way, every job opportunity that will come, it will go to a TESCOM member before any other person. And I know my colleague appointees also have the same feeling, except that because of IMF, we cannot do anything now. So a TESCOM member is my priority. MPP member is my priority. So any other Ghanaian. We are all Ghanaians, but some are more Ghanaians than others.
You know, now this is a diploma. I don't want to believe that Nana Addo can stand anywhere as a president of this country and say that, being the president of this country, I'm here to prioritize the needs of MPP members. I don't think it will be dead on arrival, sort of. You know, and if Nana Addo cannot talk to Ghanaians like that, why should somebody representing him in South Africa, in a meeting, whether closed door meeting, or so, even something should just flash through his mind to talk like that? Where is that idea coming from? And why was he not mindful? Unfortunately, I would have expected that some either apology or some political heavyweights will distance themselves like our brother Andrew has just done, you know. But it's like the man is still talking. The man is still granting an interview. But I wish MPP heavyweights would distance themselves from that position that is not MPP. Political arrogance must be eschewed, and political seriousness must be enhanced. The leader, the president, must give leadership at the end of the day, and anybody who will not help him fulfill his.
Reverend Dr. Opuni there, he's a head of the Christian Council. Let me read to you the apology that came. This was after a lot of people have spoken, including Reverend Opuni, including, a lot of trolling, if you like, of Mr. Isibwateng on social media. And this was his apology after the meeting at the Flagstaff House. Says, I have, upon sober reflection, decided to retract the comment I made during my interaction with some members of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region over the weekend. I've realized that my statement is unfortunate and is at variance with the letter and spirit of the Ghanaian Constitution and the dignified office of High Commissioner that I occupy. I am aware that as the representative of Ghana to South Africa, I have a responsibility to protect the interest of all Ghanaians within my jurisdiction. And he goes on and on. He says, I regret the effect of my speech delivered to the young party members, which has generated public outcry. I therefore wish to retract my comments and render an unqualified apology to the presidency and all Ghanaians. It's added. So that is the response. Actually, the apology that we got from Mr. Isibwateng. The minority have rejected it. They say that it was from the Flagstaff House and not from Mr. Isibwateng. Of course, you've heard what my panelists here think. But let's look at the issue concerning using non-career diplomats or politicians for some of these positions. Does the president have a choice when it comes to who to put in these offices? You can't have people, you can't have qualified or career diplomats across, unless I'm mistaken. You can have them across the board like that. So sometimes you have to rely on these politicians, and some of these politicians, they have influence within the party. They've supported the party one way or the other whilst they were in opposition. So if there is a danger of putting non-diplomats there, how can we work it out as Ghanaians?
Well, just before I tackle the question you've asked, I don't know if you're aware, but today the NDC held a walk, a unity walk in the central region, right. And President Mahama, former President Mahama, has been speaking about this issue, and he says the apology that the man has rendered, Isibwateng has rendered, is an apology on its own, and that he should be sacked. Well, coming from President Mahama, it's
When
some
is
way.
it coming from President Mahama somewhere? How exactly do you mean?
No,
Why is it
we've
somewhere?
had scenarios
He
where
was glorifying such people.
So
had
there
scenarios
were
where people-
issues like
people have
similar issues within
misbehaved
his
within his
administration, but
administration. He was
and he did
unable
not.
to remove them
Right.
from power. I mean, from where.
But
the
he
position-
did sack Victoria Hammer, didn't he?
Well, she was just an unfortunate incident.
she was used as a scapegoat.
JM
But-
actually promoted such people.
Okay. Do you have examples of the people? I mean, I'm sure you're going
Elvis
to mention
Ankara
Elvis
Ankara.
Efiankra.
was brought to the Flagstaff House. So eventually, the Flagstaff House became places where people who misbehaved in office were brought. It was a safe haven for them. So if I want to put it that way, it was a safe haven for them. If you misbehave, then the president will then reassign you to his office and give you a new office there. But that notwithstanding, I think he's making some sense here. I mean, we can learn from the mistakes that John Mahama made and then criticize Akufo-Addo for not cracking the whip, because this was, as I said, was an opportunity for him to just remove Ayisi Boateng from office, just to tell the whole world that
To make a statement.
yes, he's different from John Mahama. That he failed to do. Now, back to your question about whether
How to deal with the problem of unavailability of career diplomats, so that we have to put in politicians, and also the fact that politicians, these are people who have backed or supported the party, sometimes financially, etc. So you have to put them somewhere, basically.
no, you don't need to say that unavailability of diplomats. They do exist.
I don't know the statistics.
Yes,
so
but
I don't
they
know
do
if we have those people in excess. So
I cannot say they are in excess, but we do have people well qualified to be put in such positions. But what happens is that these are political, key political people within the parties who played a key role, perhaps contributing key resources to the party in winning their elections. So they want to reward them in a way. I'm not having any challenge with that. But when such a person is appointed, I think that they should have some sort of training.
training, true.
Training is key. Building their capacity is key. They should be given the right resources. They should be armed enough to speak like diplomats, to act like diplomats. What Ayisi Boateng did earlier was very undiplomatic.
Is it not a one-off? Don't you feel that like this is a one-off? Because if you say that the way our diplomats are speaking aren't representative of the people of Ghana, for example, I mean this is one case study, isn't it?
Well, you cannot say it's one case study or it's just an incident in a blue. Isolated case. I don't agree with that. Elsewhere, we would have even heard that Ayisi Boateng
Has
resigned even before the media would have started its campaign to get him, apologize.
Okay, let me let George come in, and then but George, if you can address the issue of
Yes.
what your expectations are, for example.
If His Excellency is watching us, don't make any mistake into sacking the man Ayisi Boateng. Two things. I'm sure you know him better than all of us. And so the person that you know, who was he? Was he that diabolical and you went ahead and appointed him? If yes, fair enough.
Diabolical? What do you mean diabolical?
Just in quotes. If somebody is discriminating.
I think Mr. Ayisi Boateng is a kind of person. I don't know him quite that well. But since this incident, we've gone looking for some of his videos.
Very good.
I mean, some of the things that he has said in the past, and he sounds to me like someone who likes to speak his mind.
He speaks his mind.
Yes.
I personally don't know him, but when it happened, I had the opportunity of meeting elderly people in society, and I met one man who is from Nandom. He said, I'm surprised. I've actually worked with this man, and he doesn't discriminate, whether you are from Nandom or you are from Hohoi.
Okay.
Or from Ankafo.
Is that why you're vouching for him?
That aside, I just feel that as human beings, if you are that bad, you will begin from the beginning. I mean, it would have been a reflection of you from even the campaign time.
So you think this is just a bad day for him?
A bad day
and
for
he
him.
should be allowed
So
to.
if we are going to go that tangent because somebody has made a mistake, he should be fired, then we will end up firing everybody. If we were to fire Saul, will we get Paul?
I think I heard this analogy during the Eswal administration, issues before, that if you were fire people because they make mistakes on the job, then you will fire everyone. But if everybody is behaving in ways that's contrary to our expectations as the people who are paying them, if you employ somebody and they go out there to misbehave,
depending on the context of the misbehavior. If, for instance, somebody goes out to make comment that can excite conflict, you know, suicidal comment that can incite one tribe against another, that's different. But this is just what we can all call political talk. People who
political talk.
Yes,
I see. And if you don't, and this is where we are, because certain things happened and we frame them political this, political that, yes, political this, and this is what where it has brought us.
That is why I
believe that vigilantism is part of that problem.
Who is the man, A.C. Boateng? Do we know him before this comment? And if we do, who was he? Okay. We have people in politics like Kennedy Japan, for instance. We know his utterances. So if he is given position and he makes that comment, then you can say, oh, it is him.
No. He's an MP. It's up to the people of Asin. I'm just
referring
to vote him out. Yes. They have not voted him out yet.
I'm saying that if he is appointed as a minister or given an ambassadorial position and he makes that comment, then people can say, oh, these are things that are easily associated with this man.
No,
but in the case
I think that when he gets into that position, people won't be that charitable with him.
Well, we are not
speaking
there.
The way he speaks.
We are not there, so we are unable to. I'm only using as an example. But in the case of Mr. A.C. Boateng, we don't know him for that, for God's sake. And I'll be happy if anybody can challenge me in the past, those who know A.C. Boateng, to be that person who discriminates.
Okay.
All I've heard from people who know him that he doesn't discriminate.
Let's talk about your expectations. Now that the minority has rejected his apology, I mean, there are people who are still asking that he be sacked. What are your expectations of traditional and social media? Because the outcry actually was amplified on social media and on traditional media as well. It was top story all over the place. What are your expectations within the media, media circles, that going into this new week?
I think we should tone down. Unfortunately, we are moved into commenting or acting or taking decisions based on what we hear, without having the benefit of the doubt of knowing the realities on the ground. Okay. That's what we do on social media. And I felt very sad when the pastors came out and said, sack him, sack him. But you are representing Jesus. Is that what Jesus taught you? Didn't he say when your brother is in trouble, go to him? Why are you excited that your brother should be sacked? I thought you should rather be praying for the person or call the person and ask, is he really the kind of person who can actually cause problem for us?
I see.
We should look at that.
Eddie, let's end this discussion with your thoughts, your expectations, just as he said, your expectations about from social media, you know, traditional media, about whether or not he be sacked, and the A.C. Boateng topic in general going into this week.
Well, I think that in the first place, minority lack the moral right to reject the apology by the High Commissioner. I mean, even though I do not agree that he should still be in office, I think that the minority do not have the moral grounds to be able to say that, look, we don't accept his apology, because they themselves, they need some reality check. But I mean, Ghana as a country, we also still need some form of reality check, because what he spoke about is factual. It happened.
And a lot of people have said that he's just putting words to a social phenomenon already.
Yes, it is something that happens.
Yeah.
He says that my priority is NPP members. Is it wrong? Well, he shouldn't have come up to say it.
Yes, I think when he says, I think people don't have an issue with my priority so much, even though Ghanaians living in South Africa may have that concern, that if you are prioritizing NDC people, now I am not, then when I come to the embassy to seek help, to the High Commission to seek help, you are likely to sideline me. But the comments he made about some Ghanaians are more Ghanaian than others, that's quite
gifty. But what I'm telling you is that we need to, these are factual instances that we do have in our country. I mean, people elected to serve under particular governments do favor people within their government. It does happen. Just that this man has been...
so it's a matter of words as against action.
He has decided to be... just come out and speak in a plain language and tell us. So he must go. But
he must go because he must
go because
he has spoken the truth, according to your argument.
Yes, he's spoken the truth, but he must go because as a leader, you must be able to be. I mean, you should be guided by your words. We do know on the ground that once an NPP government is in power, they are going to favor NPP people and they are going to give them contracts, they are going to give them deals and all that. The goodies are going the other way. When NDC was in power, it was going on their side. I mean, they were giving contracts to NDC members, and of course, they were favoring NDC members. They didn't say it. It is something that happens. You don't need to say it.
What are your expectations? Let's deal with your expectations of social media, traditional media.
I do know that the bashing will continue. I mean, the former president just resuscitated. Yes, resuscitated the bashing,
and he says that
he says that he should be sacked. I'm sure tomorrow on the front pages of newspapers they are going to carry it. It's going to be discussed on breakfast shows, and that is going to trigger another debate of a sort. We are going to go back, and then people will even start referring to President Mahama whether he was able to put his people in check and all that. But I think that the way government has carried itself throughout the whole thing, I do know that Madam Ayokobotwe, the foreign minister, has spoken, and she says that the apology from Ayesi Boati puts the matter to rest. Clearly, the government. You don't
accept that?
I do not accept that. I think the man must be sacked. But clearly, it gives you the posturing of governments. They are not going to do anything about it.
Okay.
So people are going to.
So that's one of the things we should
people
expect.
Are just going to
talk about
open the book of lamentations on social media and lament and then cry and then.
I see. Purposeless lamentations are going to go on. Well, that's according to Eddie, and that's his expectations of government. Actually, when we had the information from our source at the Flagstaff House, we're told to expect an apology and expect a statement from the presidency or from government. That has yet to come. So maybe they're waiting to respond. They wanted to look at the feedback and then based on the feedback respond. But it'll be interesting to follow what the newspapers report.
I have an advice to government, that just before you move on to the next topic. If they have not done so, they should do so. Once they have told us clearly they are not going to remove the man, they should find out. They should get a way of educating him.
Training him, you know what I mean?
They should educate him. They shouldn't just train him. They should send him to less yard and train him at Legon.
Okay.
I think that's where they train a lot of the
Well,
diplomats.
that's if any of these diplomats will be humble enough to, take that step or take that sort of offer after what has happened, But anyway, let's move away from that. I mean, I am, to be honest, indifferent. I'm not happy about his thoughts. I'm not happy about the whole phenomenon, not about he saying it, not about Mr. Ayesi Boateng saying it. It is the phenomenon. That is the problem. That is the bane of our politics, and that's what we need to address. When people take over because they think, the winner takes all, as the politicians have called it. When someone comes into power, it's all for their people. When they go out, they go into abject poverty. The next group is the time for the next group to come and chop. And the bottom line is that the poor Ghanaians get poorer. The rich get richer anyway. Let's move on. Let's look at COCOBOD. There are obviously a lot of issues at COCOBOD. To mention a few, we're told that investigations are ongoing as to how some $1.8 billion secured for the 2016-2017 cocoa purchases was utilized. We're told that the said $1.8 billion loan was fully drawn, utilized, but only 587,125 metric tons of cocoa was purchased. We are told as well that with the world cocoa prices falling, maintaining the producer price at 7,600 Ghana cedi per ton for the 2017-2018 Ghanaian cocoa farmer, it's really a lifesaver. And then the one which made more headlines, is a guest house built in Bole, and which, according to the COCOBOD CEO, was influenced by former President John Mahama for his personal comforts. This week, I spoke to the CEO of COCOBOD's aide, Fifi Boafo. Let's hear him.
Yes, been Ghana Cocoa Research. I've had a facility there for some years now. And in fact, there has been some development.
what I have here with you in the studio is a proposed refurbishment of Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, Craig Guest House, and proposed construction of new guest house with outhouse at Bali in the northern region.
Okay.
So this is a site visit report by our technical team.
Wanted to give
So
us.
this document let you get the understanding that it is factually inaccurate for anybody to suggest that the facility we're referring to has been in existence since 1975. Yes, there has been the Cocoa Research Institute, and that has been there since 1975. But the truth is that in January 18, 2016, we commenced the construction of a 5-bedroom house with a driver's quarters of 4 bedrooms at Bole. This is a report that shows that the statement that was issued by Joyce Bawa Mukhtari on behalf of the former president did not tell us the truth.
Okay.
So just look at these documents carefully. There's a summary of the project scope.
Okay.
And this one talks about the existing guest house wing.
Okay.
So let's look at what has been in existence. It's a number of rooms, 8. Structural cracks in the walls, leakage in the roof of the guest house building, among others.
And then
But
finishes.
let us look at what is the matter of contention here. The new executive house wing. The new executive house wing, the scope of work for the new executive wing included the construction of the following building with the following accommodations. It's a new 5-bedroom executive building. It talks about 5-bedroom building with each room ensuite, 2 ensuite buildings on the ground floor, and 3 other rooms on the first floor. Main reception, a living area, a bar, dining area, kitchen with store and pantry, kitchen yard. The floor were finished with porcelain tiles. If anyone tells you that he is building a guest house for staff, would the person build a house that is 5 bedrooms, 2 downstairs, 3 upstairs, and say that that is a place for researchers or a COCOBOD staff is going there?
All right, so that is he's an aide, you know, he manages the CEO of COCOBOD's office. He's Fifi Wafu there talking to me this week. Let me find out from you whether or not you think that the issues at COCOBOD were rather shifting our focus from the real issues that bother on the livelihood of the cocoa farmer, the poor cocoa farmer, to rather discussing the politics of it.
You are right. When I heard of this thing, unfortunately it coincided at a time that I was bereaved. I lost my JSS classmate who committed suicide in Kentampo. And the notice there was, things are hard.
Things are hard?
Yes.
Oh.
There's real difficulty in the system, according to the note. So when I was like, if that is the case.
Was he in debt? Was he owing
Well,
someone?
according to he was owing, but how
dear.
much is another thing. But for me, it is about how we share the national cake. I don't think if Francis Sawyer was employed, he would commit suicide. So to go and take loan for the Republic and misuse it is a problem. But where we are, it is still a matter of speculation. When I listen to Fifi Boafo and I listen to the minority, I get more confused. If you make a statement like the president or former president influenced this for his comfort, is the man so stupid that he would think that he will be president forever? So if he wanted something for his comfort, why will he build a guest house? He should have rather channeled it into his own. Or
but Bole is his hometown, so
yes, but if he's no more president,
sense.
He can't have the comfort of that.
But, but if he built it, you can't deny him access, even if he is no longer in power. You can't deny him,
but if you are really a rational being and you want something for your comfort, you will have a way of doing it. You can rather go and do something that you own it, or your wife or son or daughter will own it.
But so this will be coming from government coffers, not from his personal.
This will be coming from. That's what I'm making. There are so many ways of killing a cat.
Okay.
That's the NDC will put it. So I don't really think the way the COCOBOD CEO presented the whole issue, for me, that is the problem. If there's a genuine issue of financial malpractice, let's look at it from that angle.
Okay.
If that is the problem, we can tackle it square on. And like we said, Do we have cocoa farmers in Bole? Certainly no. So if you are going to build something from cocoa, is Bole the right place to put it? If you are looking at it from that angle, I will side with you. I don't care whether a champion regime started it or not. We're living in a country where even scholarship for cocoa farmers, children, there are people living in Accra or Bolga whose hometown they can't even farm cocoa, but their wards are benefiting, and the poor cocoa farmer in Tepa is not getting anything. Those are the things we should be looking at. But if you go and come out with a propagandist press conference, I'm talking of the cocoa board.
That's how you saw it?
That's how I saw it.
Why?
I think he has a genuine problem. Do we have a problem with financial malpractice? Was there value for money for what was done? That is what we should be looking at. But to come and say the president, the former president did this, and even the man you spoke to, his position himself is questionable. Does he speak for COCOBOD?
Yes.
He doesn't. He said he
speaks for the
he said he's the manager
CEO.
of the CEO's office.
So he speaks for the CEO.
And he claims that position has been there. I mean, you must.
Yeah, he speaks for the CEO. So if you are speaking for the CEO, I mean, whatever you say,
but COCOBOD,
if there is a problem, it's that's
COCOBOD
the CEO's
as an
problem
entity
to solve.
has corporate affairs department.
Yes, headed by one Mr. Amanya.
Which your tax, my tax,
It's
have been
paying.
used to pay him.
So okay.
So that the person talking himself is a problem. You see, so we can't be going that way. If you want to come with equity, come with clean hands. So that man talking himself is more political.
It's part of the problem.
He's part of the problem.
I see.
So COCOBOD should come clear. If you want Ghanaians to see you as serious, let's see that the institutions are working. But you don't put somebody who is a politician there coming to talk and expect us to
So
take
you see, the thing with the COCOBOD issue is that there's so many different issues, you know,
So many
that's
problems.
scattered all over the place. I mean, first of all, there's the issue that they raised about the Bole guest house. There's a problem that they raised about cocoa prices. There's a story, there's an issue, you know, that you're just raising about
scholarship and those things.
not even just that. I mean, it's like so many different problems there at COCOBOD. Should they, at the press conference, Eddie, should they have just focused on, for example, cocoa prices? But then there are these problems as well that we have to deal with. So they came up with the problems and they put it out there for everyone else to see. So really, I mean, this is an issue that I'm not quite clear. I mean, the COCOBOD, it just seems to be too many issues. Where do you stand yourself on the guest house in Bole, being situated in Bole?
Well, I think that the COCOBOD, the statement from COCOBOD is an apology of a statement.
Why do you say so?
Fifi Boafo shouldn't have even come up with this statement. I mean, to buttress what his boss had said earlier. I mean, they have a PR directorate headed by one Mr. Amanya. Clearly, they should have given him the opportunity, if indeed COCOBOD wanted to communicate such.
To respond.
Such.
Fifi Boafo is a
manager or somebody's office.
Fifi Boafo.
All right. So
he said it's one of the managers. So when I was signing up and signing out, and I wish I could, I'm not sure I would have it at the moment. But
Fifi
when I was
Boafo
signing out with our interview, for example, he said, I said he speaks for COCOBOD. He said no, he doesn't speak for COCOBOD. He's one of the managers.
You don't speak for
at the
so
CEO's
what moral right
office.
do you have?
But he's a broadcaster.
all right.
So
He's a product of seasonal political jobs. So
he's a broadcaster.
I
so
said it's a product of seasonal political jobs. When there's a change in government, the next CEO who occupy that position will come in with a special aide who will speak for him. These are jobs created for the boys. Now let me go to the substantive issue. Having said that, it's an apology of a statement from COCOBOD. I think there are key issues that needs to be investigated and then solutions found too.
True.
First of all, they are saying they were targeting to buy, or they took the loan to buy around 900,000 tons of metric tons of cocoa
yes.
seeds. They were able to buy just a little
over 5,000.
500,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
500,000.
We should find out why. They took the money to buy this amount of cocoa seeds. They failed to meet the target. They were able to buy 587,000.
1,125 metric
Great.
tons.
I mean, this is just a little over half of what they targeted. This is what we should be asking the previous government or previous officers of COCOBOD. And
how they spent that 1.8
why
million.
they were not able to buy the entire metric tons of cocoa they were targeting to buy, when indeed the money had been spent. That is one. And if they're able to establish that indeed there was some financial malfeasance and they were able to abuse the money, they were not able to use it for the purpose for which it was secured, then they should put them before court. They don't need a special prosecutor. The Attorney General should process their dockets and send them to court. You don't need to hold press conferences to tell us.
So in that case,
is what I'm trying to say.
In that case, what then will be your response to the COCOBOD management, the new COCOBOD management? First, we saw the board chair, Hackman Oswajiman, come out to speak about the former CEO of COCOBOD's salary, for example. So it was, and then this time we're seeing them tell us the problem. If there have been there is an investigation ongoing over that 1.8 million, why would they organize a press conference just to throw all of these out there? It will even jeopardize the investigation, wouldn't it?
All right. So Hackman Oswajiman, who is the current board chair of COCOBOD, is a very respected politician in the country. First of all, I didn't expect him to even come up with the salaries of the outgone CEO.
But actually, why not?
Because this is hypocrisy. By now, they should have made known how much the current CEO is taking.
Mr. Edu is earning. We want to know, Mr. Edu.
Yes, so if
you want to know how much you're earning. Is it the same as Dr. Opuni was earning?
If not, he should bring it public.
Is it the same as Dr. Opuni was earning, or is
less?
It more? It would never be less. Not it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
So he said he was ready to take any amount at a time. Let's go back, find out, as journalists, let's go back, find out. They announced, they put it on public platforms. They said that this man is taking over 60,000 Ghana cedis as a monthly salary. Now they said they were going to review it, take a look at it and all that. COCOBOD should be telling us now, okay, our current CEO or acting CEO is taking this amount of Ghana cedis, which is less or below the previous
that
amount.
We are different.
Just to prove that they are different. They have not been able to do that. That is the first point. Now, I have issues with the guest house put up at Bole. Now, this, we have been told, is running into somewhere around 7 million cedis. 7 million cedis gifting. How much is it?
I don't know how much, it will cost. This is a two-story, it's a one-story. So I don't know, I don't know how much it
Let's
costs.
call Grader, the real estate developers of this country.
To value it.
Even if you own a property at Grader, East Legon, or
Trazaco.
These are prime areas, Trazaco. Let's find out how much a 3-bedroom house, story building cost. You won't get to millions. You won't.
Well, I don't know.
Now, this amount, 7 million cedis, or I don't know if it is dollars, but for now, I think it's
we can
cedis,
find out
right?
whether we can check. We can check that quickly.
It is
whether
close
it's
to
cedis or
Gifty.
dollars, but
This is
even
close
if it's cedis.
Even if it is cedis, it's close to the same amount being used to construct the vice president's residence. That is just a little over 10 million cedis or so. Is this? Can we say that the Bole apartment or the guest house is equivalent to a vice presidential apartment? Do they have the same amenities or facilities in there? These are key issues we should be looking out for. I think that COCOBOD over the years have become an avenue for politicians to siphon the state. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Today, when a different government comes, they send their people there, people who can manage the place such a way that they can be able to siphon the money and then send to their political fathers or whoever who appoint them there. I think it is something that we should pay attention to, and then
since there's a lot of money,
put people who orchestrated this, the 7 million apartment or guest house. They were not able to buy the targeted cocoa seeds that they were supposed to buy. The reason for which they even acquired this loan. What is even more worrying is that they are saying that some of the cocoa roads are ghost roads. I do know, I've covered some of the cocoa roads during President Mohammed's time. We went around commissioning some of those roads. So I do know that some do exist. But if for any reason they go into documents and see that some of the prices were inflated, or they can't even find some of the roads for which they've written an amount against, then obviously COCOBOD should not be holding press conferences. It's just a waste of time. They should go straight to the Attorney General's office. They should prepare a docket. They should put these people before court and trial them for causing financial loss to the state.
Let me bring you, Georgie, and find out from you. I know you have a lot of connections with farmers, etc.
Sure.
Do you think that at the moment, how much they're being paid? 7,600 per ton. That's the cocoa farmers. Is a fair deal?
Woefully inadequate. If you've gone to the village before, and I have relatives who have cocoa farms after Tepa, you go to Manfo, and the first time I got there, I was then in GIG. In the night, wow, it's pathetic.
Describe what happens in the night.
In the night, you know, it's like you have one house in a forest, typical forest. And you could hear wild animals, sound of wild animals. And you ask yourself, if you are sick at that time, what happens to you? If you are attacked by a wild animal, what happens to you? So
the cocoa farmers are really not making any benefits.
I think we should just, for God's sake, respect them as human beings.
But they have explained, the COCOBOD has explained, actually Fifi Buaf was explaining that what they have done at the moment is to stabilize Ghana's cocoa price for the farmers, because on the international platform, the prices are reducing. Prices for gold
We've
are
never
reducing.
had a problem as a country with good plans and good preparations. Our problem has been implementation of such. This one, we've heard it before. Let's see practical things. And so I keep telling myself, we tell our young boys and girls, guys and ladies to go into agriculture. But when the vice chancellor or the minister's son or daughter completes the university, they take him or her to SNIT, COCOBOD. And you tell me, from Yapimison, who has suffered a lot of, issues, tell my father that when his son finishes, he should come and farm. Does it make sense? So let's begin to go by what we say. So let's see the president's son or the minister or the senior minister's son go into agriculture. And then the man in Yapimison, his son or daughter, can also feel comfortable to go into agriculture. But don't let us sit in the
But if it's agriculture, I mean, there are people, the former President Mahama, who he's got farms.
You call that agriculture?
What is it?
If you've gone to the village before, what they do is not agriculture. I'm talking of real farm. Talk to the smallholder farmers. People who depend on real farm. People that the agri minister will come and tell you that they are insignificant because the number of acres they have is just minute in terms of percentage. So 7,600 per ton for you is like
woefully
inadequate. We can do better for them.
Is it a good price? I mean, is it fair? Not that it's good. Is it fair for the farmers? Based on the explanation that the COCOBOD is giving, that world prices are going down, but we here are trying to save our farmers our cocoa farmers by stabilizing it.
Is the syndicated loan that they take annually going down as well? World prices are falling. You see, we should be serious as a country. First of all, Gifty, we as journalists, we should go to COCOBOD. We should find out from COCOBOD.
They won't open their doors to you anyway.
Gifty.
Or you just have to stand outside and let's look around.
Because the CEO has a spokesperson and the company has a spokesperson.
If the CEO has been able to speak now, exposing the rot in COCOBOD, perpetuated by, that is allegedly, by those who were there previously. If he's been able to open his mouth wide to speak about it, he should be able to open his door wide as well, ajar, for us as journalists to access information from there. What I'm pointing to you, Gifty, is that how many children of cocoa farmers are benefiting from cocoa scholarships in this country? Out of the 1.8 billion loan that they take every year, for which some amount is dedicated to scholarships for farmers of cocoa children. I mean, farmers who have children of school-going age. You go and find out that documents available. You will find out going through, I bet you, I don't have the facts, but I can tell you that you will find out that there are names of children whose fathers or relatives are nowhere close to a cocoa farm. That is where we have gotten to. And who
perhaps can even afford.
Sure.
That is where we have gotten to.
Education.
It's a sad.
And that's what the pastor should be talking about. Christian counsel, this is what you be talking about, not easy Boateng's issue.
It's a sad situation. How many children who are having their fathers well versed in cocoa farms, benefiting currently from
actually
from cocoa scholarships.
a colleague of mine did a story about the cocoa farmers, and it appears that some of them have not even seen a bar of chocolate before, but they are producing the cocoa that we're bragging with in
I
this
suppose
country.
you are referring to a story on TV3 some years back.
Seriously?
By Odilo Fori.
Oh, seriously? No. This time was not done by Odilia. In any case, Odilia is here. So what's your problem?
I didn't know. You're in a comfortable
but see, just to add a little to that, people don't know the culture of Ghanaians. If I am from the Upper East region, no matter how rich I am, if I go to the Upper East region and I go to my house or family house, it is an insult to the people. So let nobody think that former President Mahama can go and build a house in Bole.
Let nobody
go
think.
there.
But they're saying that he influenced it. The building is there.
yes.
We have pictures, our correspondent
No
sent us
problem. I don't have a
pictures
problem with he
on the
influencing
upper-
a facility to develop his village, but for his personal comfort, that's the aspect I have a
okay,
problem
you have
with.
It
a
doesn't
problem
make
with
sense
that.
It doesn't
for
make-
anybody
yeah.
to
So-
think that
so
he
that-
built it
So
or
Fifi Boateng could
influenced it
have
for
taken
Boafo, Fifi Boafo.
yes, he could have taken off that sentence. I mean that part of the sentence. for
that
his personal
sentence actually
comfort.
gave him out. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
it
if you
doesn't make
build a
sense.
good mansion in my village, certainly it will enhance the beauty of the village.
I see.
But
Well,
to say it's from
But
my
you asked a
comfort,
critical question. Do they cultivate cocoa in Bali? I don't know.
I have a problem with
No,
that.
they
Do you
don't.
have a
Like I said
research on
earlier.
that?
no, they don't.
So
Apparently,
COCOBOD
they don't.
So
I
is
know
COCOBOD
Bali
having
very
a
well.
headquarters there or something?
No,
No.
there's a research institute. There's a research institute, and that is the building that was there in the 1970s.
So
Now, what the document that Fifi Boafo showed me indicated that the 1970 building was renovated. That aside, there was the construction of this new guest house they're talking about. So if you look at, I think when you put it together, that's where you get to the 7 million. But there's an existing structure which was, of course, renovated at a cost, and then there's a new building which was, put up as well. Where
And
the
the
pictures that we have
hypocrisy.
from our
When
correspondent.
Steve Asamoah Boateng was information minister, when he left, the cost of renovation of that building, we were told in this country that could have put up a similar building. So what are we talking about?
No, but the fact that there's hypocrisy doesn't mean that we should not question whether or not there was
Yes.
value for money,
That
and
is-
whether
so-
or not
so-
my hard-earned
And that is
money
the exact
paid
point
to
I'm
government as
making.
tax.
Let's
is
look at
being
it
used
from
properly.
that angle. Is there value for money, and forget of this personal comfort thing?
Okay. That we're also told that the COCOBOD is investigating the withdrawal of $400 million out of that 1.8 billion cocoa syndicated loan secured for the 2016-2017 season. So 400 million. That is also something that they are investigating. I don't know if you have any information or you want to say anything about it, but it's like a plethora of issues at the Ghana Cocoa Board, and I don't even know where to start and where to finish with the solution, or where in the solution lies.
Well,
actually.
for me, that's a genuine concern, and I think the Cocoa Board CEO should, we should clap hands for him for that. He should go ahead with that. That's what we want. If there's a problem with that, he should follow it and deal with the people behind it. Because people are committing suicide because things are hard. We cannot have a situation where some few people at the top. I keep referring to the book I read in Big Boss, Ghana and Rollins Factor, where I say we have state-protected thieves. And we cannot have a situation where the state will be protecting those thieves. And when others steal smaller things, we punish them. So the CEO should investigate all things there. Admittedly, COCOBOD has full of problems. And I think Dr. Opuni left a lot of problems there. It's not the only state entity here. So why is it that every day is COCOBOD? So he should go in there and look at the germane issues and deal with it. And people who maybe, who might have committed some wrongs should be dealt with in accordance with the laws of the land.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. It's a new week that we're just, starting, and I think I won't be disappointed, or I will be disappointed with the headlines. I think that the media, majority of the media, seem to have focused on the politics, seems to have focused more on John Mahama. Oh, so John Mahama, Bole, oh, the guest house, and it's all over the place. But we're losing sight of the cocoa farmer. Who speaks for the cocoa farmer when we all keep quiet and go talking, go chasing the politician? When they throw, it's like dogs who have been thrown, who have seen meat being thrown out there, and we jumped onto, because the press conference laid out all of these issues, including the price of cocoa. But it appears that the theme, what was running throughout the news was John Mahama, Bole, guest house.
I think that the press
comfort.
conference by COCOBOD was to churn out information overload.
Is that also a plan by the COCOBOD to, you know, get our minds off what they're expected to do, what they're expected to fix cocoa farmers and make sure that their lives are better off?
Well,
that's a school of thought out there.
They are trying to set the agenda for the media. I mean, I am surprised that someone will go withdraw $400 million from an account. Few days to elect, I mean, just after a party loses an election, few days before a new government is sworn in, I mean, $400 million is withdrawn, and COCOBOD at this juncture cannot tell us that they've not been able to pinpoint
to
who
trace
and who
it.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense to me. That's what I'm saying, that the press conference was to churn out information overload.
Sensational
a lot of information.
Right.
Bole guest house, I mean, they bought this number of cocoa seeds which were below the amount targeted. Bole guest house costing 7 million cedis. I mean, these are information.
It's like a child telling you a story. By the time they'll end with the first one, they've started the third one. And by the time they'll finish everything, you can't remember anything.
And COCOBOD, this particular COCOBOD administration has been consistent. I mean, they started with Oponi is taking this amount of money. I am still asking COCOBOD to declare how much the CEO is taking now. After they declared that Oponi was taking, Oponi was exhibiting openness at the place by taking such an amount of cities.
You're watching Editors Forum with me, Gifty and Opie. I'm here with Georgia Sekeri and, of course, with Edward Kwabi. Let's take a very quick break. When I return, we'll be talking about political vigilantism. We've seen quite a bit of that this month. I'm personally tired of it already. And it appears that, you know, people are not really listening to the president. We'll take you to Ada and show you some of the very disturbing scenes there on Friday. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.